Are the Cubs still in the market for a good outfielder as a fourth option? And how much money are they willing to spend to get that? Cubs farm system, as we talked about on this show maybe a week ago, way down, and the rankings reflect that. We'll get into that and more, including one of our World Series heroes. You're going to see him on TV really soon. So like, subscribe, thumbs up. Coming at you again from the Florida Keys, even though it's chilly down here, but it's not as cold as it is for you guys, I'm sure. Let's get this thing started. Good to see you, and let's talk some Cubs baseball. And hey, give me a little credit doing the show on vacation. You gotta appreciate that, guys. Let's go. All right, there's the open of the show, and it's great to talk to you guys here, as always, on the Cubs baseball channel. AveD, that is our Web3 home. I appreciate all of you guys for checking that out, hitting that QR code, getting in the comment section, as I ask you to do every day, and being a part of what we do here. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. You guys are getting us there, and I appreciate it. All right, let me get into this. We talked about Miguel Andujar and some of the other players that could potentially be coming to the Cubs as a free agent signing. And we keep talking about Zach Gallen. If the Cubs go out, are they really willing to pay Zach Gallen? And are they willing to go over the luxury tax? I think they are. Now, they're not going to be the Dodgers. They're not going to be the Mets. But I think that if they got the right deal, they felt good about it, I think that they would creep over that. At least that's what Patrick Mooney from the Athletics kind of said, our buddy there. And we'll find out if that's true. Now, we've talked about a couple of guys that could potentially fit that mold. And I got to tell you, I talked about Miguel Andujar on a show, I don't know, a week or two ago, and I was talking about what he could do potentially for the Cubs in the outfield. And I said he played center field. I misspoke. I was thinking about Austin Hayes. So like I keep notes here. And when you talk about what he might be able to do, it'd be corner outfield spots for Andujar, but he'd be your best offensive option if the Cubs were really willing to go out there and try to make a move for someone that could help offensively. Andujar, who was really good with the Yankees and then got traded last year to Cincinnati, he was really good at the plate, isn't known for his defense, and he's someone that has played third base, and you see him obviously play in the outfield as well, but corner outfield spots. Now, the other guy who you may see if you're the Cubs and on that list is Austin Hayes. Austin Hayes was with the Orioles. You know him from his time in Cincinnati. Hayes is someone that's really interesting. He can play a little bit of center field, but he's another corner outfield guy, but he can hit. And the market right now, when you talk about center fielders, there's just not a whole lot out there, right? So you're taking guys that you feel like maybe could jump out there in a pinch and help out. Hayes has played some center field, but for the most part is a left fielder. And he's a 2023 All-Star, hit 15 home runs last season. He's a guy that you feel like, the Cubs could potentially get. Cardinals, Mets, Yankees, so some of the other teams that were mentioned with him, although the Yankees just got Cody Bellinger. So, I wonder if they would still want him. Now, you need quality outfield backups, right? I mean, remember Mike Tauchman? I always thought he was a really good player as your kind of a backup guy. We know that Seiya Suzuki has struggled at times in right field. It'd be nice to have someone who, if Kevin Alcantara isn't ready to go up there and contribute, could slide into that spot and be a player for the Cubs in the outfield. And then the other thing is, Zach Gallen. I mean, how willing are they to sign Gallen? I don't know. I talked about it yesterday. I feel like that there's, at this point, I feel like that there's still some smoke there, that the Cubs probably would like to have him in the starting rotation, knowing that Justin Steele might not be back until June. And then what if he comes back and he's no good, right? So you can't really count on him this year. So you got to have other options. You'd have to give up a draft pick. And that, to me, is an area where if I was the Cubs, I'd be a little bit concerned. And that kind of leads me to my next topic on the show today, and that's the Cubs farm system. I talked about this being the weakest farm system that I've seen in the last 20 years with the Cubs. I'm not saying that there aren't players that could jump up there and contribute. And a lot of this is going to be on how Ethan Conrad bounces back from his labrum surgery. Obviously hasn't played in professional games yet because he was injured, but what's that going to look like? And then could he be a top 100 prospect? But ESPN did their rankings, and when you don't have any top 100 prospects, you're going to be really low on the list. And that's where the Cubs came in. They came in at 25 of 30 teams. I mean, think about that. 25 of 30 teams. So there's not many teams that have less prospects on their roster in the minor leagues than the Cubs. So who's number one? Well, number one on the list is the Milwaukee Brewers, and they have made their living on basically not missing when it comes to their minor league system and developing talent, right? And good farm, and basically good systems do that. But Cleveland was 2, Pittsburgh was 3, Dodgers were 4. Now, this is the model that the Cubs have to watch. The Dodgers had the best farm system last year. They're down to 4 spots or 3 spots to number 4. They have 5 top 100 prospects. And then the Mets are 5th. So you're talking about 2 of the biggest spending teams, and yet 2 teams that have some really good farm hands. And, that's kind of what you want in a healthy organization. Tigers 6, Mariners 7, going all the way down to the Cubs being at 25. The only teams that were below the Cubs on ESPN's list were the Braves, the Angels, who have an awful farm system, by the way, only 1 top 100 prospect, the Rockies, which is surprising to me just because of the fact that, I mean, look, you're that bad, you'd figure they'd have more than 1 top 100 prospect. And then Houston, who's known for making these trades where they give away their prospects, has 0. And same with the Padres. They make a lot of trades. They get rid of their organizational depth, and they're at the very bottom. Does this mean that the Cubs have had a bad farm system? No, it means the guys have graduated to the big leagues. Pete Crow Armstrong was number 1 on the list. Then the 2 trades that they made, Cam Smith and Owen Casey, those are going to hurt because those are top prospects. Those are guys that are now, well, I think Owen Casey is going to play every day in the big leagues. He probably won't see the minors again. And then, obviously what Cam Smith did last year. So the scouting department is hoping that the guys that they drafted last year, and there's a lot of potential there, are going to step up and kind of be some surprises to the experts, because right now the Cubs kind of at the bottom of the list. The other thing that they can do is sign players that can help out, right? And so they did that. Karson Simas was a guy that was with the Red Sox for a long time, and he was a prospect, and then now the Cubs signed them on a free agent deal. This is organizational help. I mean, this is what you do when you don't have a lot of depth in your farm system. He signed a minor league deal. He's 24 years old. He plays shortstop, kind of a utility guy. He was a former 25th round pick out of high school by the Red Sox in 2019. And he has a bunch of talent. It just hasn't come together yet, and to reach the potential that a lot of scouts feel like he could reach, right? But what the Cubs are going to like about him is he can play shortstop, second base, third base, left field, center, and right. So that's really fantastic. And and he can do some stuff with the bat. One of these moves that you look at and you go, you know what, not a bad signing right there. And you hope that they continue to go out there. Maybe they find a diamond in the rough with a prospect that comes to the organization, and maybe just a change of scenery helps them out a lot. But I'm guessing that he's going to be a AAA guy with Iowa this year. Hey, how about this? The Riz is back. Well, we knew that. Anthony Rizzo is back, and now he is going to join the NBC broadcast booth. So he's going to be there with Clayton Kershaw. How about that? And Bob Costas. NBC hasn't had Major League Baseball as part of the stuff that they do since, I mean, it's been a long time, right? I want to say maybe 2000 or something. They're back. They've got a deal. They're going to be broadcasting games, and I'm curious to see what their Sunday Night Baseball looks like. ESPN gave up Sunday Night Baseball. I thought ESPN made a really bad decision when they didn't bring John Miller back. They turned the Sunday Night Baseball into the same thing that I can't stand about like the MLB Network, where it's too cartoonish. Give me the old school baseball guy. Tell me the stories. I know some of you guys didn't like Joe Morgan, but you had to like him on Sunday Night Baseball with John Miller. It was great. I like the idea of having Clayton Kershaw and Anthony Rizzo. I'm just curious to see like what Anthony Rizzo looks like in the booth. And it's easy to go out and sign guys that have never done it before, but how hard are those guys going to work to be good at the job? You know, when you listen to Ron Coomer, there's a reason why Coomdog is excellent on the air, right? Because he works at it, and it's a job, you know, and it's not just, hey, show up and be there 5 minutes before the game. You got to put a lot of work in. And I think Jim DeShays is awesome too. And I see these guys. I've worked with them before. I've been around them. Superstar players like Kershaw and Rizzo. I wonder like what work ethic they're going to take. You know, could they be like Tony Romo has done in the NFL? Tom Brady's actually been pretty good on the air too. So we'll see. But I'm pulling for him. I'm excited about it. And I think that it's great. And I hope that the Marquee Sports Network figures out a way to get him on their show too. It'd be nice to have some guys that played for the Cubs on their, on their airways. All right, look, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell, the QR code, be part of Mick Nation. I appreciate all you guys saying you want some of the swag. You got to leave me your email address so I can get in touch with you, because we're going to give some stuff away. And we always do that on our Avenue D site as well, Mick Nation. So thank you. And, hey, go Cubs. We're getting closer to baseball.